Everybody, welcome. We want to welcome you to Freedom Files, episode 10. We're in the double digits, fellas. Cheers to everybody. All right, I get you down there too. Okay, today we're guest starring Jarod Patassi. I'll get into a more detailed introduction here in a moment. We've got Grant Flory, and as always, we've got Jimmy Freeman over there on the other end. Okay, let me show my gun real fast. Today I picked a Henry. This is in 357, lever action. I believe this is called the Henry Shadow. I don't think it's called the Dark. What's it called, Grant? It's got a name for it, yeah. But anyway, it's the more tactical version one. You know, it's really great, man. I mean, it comes with a threaded barrel at the end, so if you want to put your compensator on there, you can. It's got high vis sights on it. It's got a real smooth action. Henry, of course, their motto is "Made in America" or "Not made at all." And you've got a little rail down here if you want to put lights or something like that on it. So it's a cool thing, man. And Henry's been cranking them out, so they're a little bit more available than they were. I know we went through about a 4-year run where it was almost impossible to get one. But
drilled and tapped for optics.
Drilled and tapped for optics. If you want to put a red dot or if you want to put a scope on it, great gun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Jarod. Jarod is a fourth-generation Oakdale resident. He was a high school and college wrestler. He graduated from Sacramento State and currently works as a development advisor and engineer. He's married with 3 sons and is currently on Oakdale City Council. He is also an avid hunter and shooting enthusiast. Jarod, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, like you said, 4th-generation Oakdale resident, born and raised here. When I got a chance to move out, I took a scholarship to up north and wrestled up there, and had my first son in Oregon, Timothy, and then moved back down to California and transferred to Sac State and finished my civil engineering. And my wife and I, we got married, had 2 more boys, Brian and Henry, 6 and 4. So Timmy's starting to drive now. We're rebuilding a truck, and I got to work all that overtime.
Truck you rebuilding, bro?
It's a '87 Ford F350.
Oh wow! Yes. Yeah. What a great rig, man!
Yeah. Big block 460 with the 4-speed.
Nice square front end. Yeah, 87. Nice. I love it.
He's totally geeking out on it right now, and it's fun to have a project to do with your boys, and it's become like a family thing. Timmy and I are doing something, and the other little boys are jumping around like it's a jungle gym out there, and my wife's just trying to keep them from falling off the sides, and it's been good. This has been a fun season. It's been a fast season, a tiring season, but it's been a really fun season.
Well, it is fast-paced, man. I mean, it seems like life in general, whether you have kids in high school or not, is just fast-paced. But yeah, having kids in school, getting ready to drive, man, I mean, that is like light speed.
Oh, yeah. And it was like 2 weeks ago I was changing his diaper. And then, my 2 younger ones, my middle, he's starting kindergarten soon. And, they say the summer right before kindergarten is the last time they're ever little. So, you get hit in the field.
Goes quick, blink of an eye, just like that.
There's no rewind at all. So just trying to live it up and enjoy the small moments that, are so big in your mind and heart.
So when you remember yourself back in that situation, 15, 16, 17, because you've been in this town for a long time, I want you to talk about the upbringing that you've had pertaining to American gun culture in Oakdale. Like, what changes have you seen, and what changes do you see your kids that either do or don't have, or the experiences that you had?
Absolutely. So I remember it like it was yesterday. My dad got me a shotgun for Christmas. Me and my brother 870 Express Super Mags, 12 gauge. Got us both the same gun. I was 13. And
you still have it?
Still have it.
I love it.
It's in the back of the safe. No one touches it except me.
Yeah.
And
was gonna get it someday?
I don't know if I can part with it.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm gone.
Take it in the coffin,
maybe when I'm gone.
You started making them again. You buy them a new legacy.
Yeah. When I'm gone, the instructions will be: you guys put on boxing gloves and see who comes to top. So, that was the first thing. We had grown up shooting guns, shotguns. We grew up, on 40 acres out in the middle of nowhere. And my dad always told us, hey, anything you shoot, you better be prepared to eat. So You know, I remember the first bird I shot was a little Tweety bird. I had no even thought that I was going to hit it. Well, I shot it, and I ran and got a shoebox because I felt so bad, and I buried it and made a little cross and buried it by the barn so my dad wouldn't know. And that moment, you know, it's kind of a funny moment, but that was the first thing that I remember, you know, shooting. And, you know, I realized at that moment how powerful and how serious it is to have a firearm. And my dad always told us, hey, you know, this is not a toy. I'm giving you, you know, the responsibility, and, you know, you better be responsible, or, you know, there are consequences. And so that was kind of the first experience of having my own gun, and having that freedom. And so I just, as a kid, you know, in high school growing up, you know, we used to keep our shotguns in our truck, you know, and we'd have our fishing poles or our shotguns in our trucks, and we'd go out to John Creek or anywhere really in the country, and we'd go shooting and fishing and stuff like that. And, you know, it wasn't really we were all kind of raised in the country and had, you know, firearm safety in the home. And I remember doing my hunter safety course. First class was out in Valley Home, and then I did another class out at the Oakdale gun range. And, you know, you didn't take it for granted. Like, there was a lot of responsibility placed on
That
it.
range has some major history, man.
Yeah. So it was a good experience. And I honestly had never shot a rifle until I was probably a sophomore or junior in high school. And that was a big eye-opening, you know, shooting a rifle. And then I think probably around the same time, that was the first time I shot a pistol. And, you know, I remember realizing the power that you hold in your hands and just being like scared at first and like, wow, that was pretty righteous and kick ass, but wow, that was eye opener. So, you know, it's a big responsibility. And the way I was brought up is, hey, if you don't respect it, accidents will happen.
Your boys hunt too?
Yep. My oldest, he has I bought it here from you. That Beretta A400.
That's a great one, man. That's a great one.
He duck hunts with me. We've been doing some rifle practice for him to hopefully shoot his first deer in the next year or two. So yeah, he's actually a really good shot. When we go out dove hunting, we go out duck hunting, he's got the good eyes. You know, me and all my buddies, we're close to 40 or 40, so we're not as, you know, best eyesight, but he's pretty lethal with the shotgun.
Grant's like, just wait, dude. Just wait. I was going to say just wait, but I'm like, well, Grant's at the table.
I got to close one eye now. He just keeps both eyes open.
Yeah. All right.
But I think, you know, also use it, lose it. Like, you know, you talk about getting a little older or whatever, and your eyes get a little, and that's just going to happen no matter what. But like, you know, Grant shoots very regularly. He's always going to competitions. You know, the last episode we had Big Steve Jacobson on there that, I mean, you know, we're all sitting here, well, Grant's a little bit older than him, but all the rest of us are a little bit, just a tiny bit, you know. But I mean, I think he's 55, 56 or whatever. But I mean, dude, he's admirable, man. I mean, you know, it's like, wow. And that's because he's a use it or lose it. He's like, hey, I'm going to go out there and do all my shooting and everything else, but I'm not missing that gym. Or like when we had Dave back here, you know, it's the same thing. So it's something that it really is a choice. It's like, hey, we're going to keep doing this. And I'm proud, man. I'm glad you're taking your boys out there too, because I think a lot of youth, man, doesn't get that kind of thing.
Well,
you know, the generations that
You step back a little bit and you think about when you were a kid and going to high school or something, driving your truck and parking it in the parking lot at the high school, and there was maybe a shotgun or a rifle.
Yeah, so that's it. So I think
so you were on campus with a firearm,
right,
and, now,
and you would lock it in there and leave it, dude, on display.
if a kid in school bites his toast in the shape of a gun, they suspend him, right? But there used to be firearms courses
It was
in the schools.
it
They
was
used to have competitions.
it was the Colorado.
We had trap league.
Columbine, bro, that changed it. That's really what changed the schools. That
trench coat
That's what
warriors.
set precedence for zero guns on a school ground. Period.
Yeah.
And I get it. I totally get it. I think kids should be protected at the utmost. Yeah. But, you know, like, me and my buddies, we never had any intentions of hurting anybody.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, you would have kids that go hunting on the way to school,
Yep.
or they get out of school and they're going hunting after school.
yeah.
So they're going for dove or whatever. They're going to go shoot some ground squirrels or some rabbits. They're ready to go on the way to school or on the way back, and they're responsible, and it's in the parking lot. But you weren't having
And I mean,
car break-ins and
No.
thefts. You weren't having threats, and you could
Not at
still,
the level that
you
we
could
have
have a
today.
buck knife in your pocket too.
Yeah.
You know, so times have changed, and the morality and ethics seems to have changed as well.
Well, people are a lot more sensitive now too.
Yeah.
the perception towards the gun culture
Yes.
and firearms.
Yes.
You know, and this, if you look, you know, you go way back prior to 1968, you know, you go back before Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, it took Congress 5 years to get the American Gun Safe Act approved and enacted, where you had to do a background. So prior to 1968, there was no backgrounds. You know, you just walk into wherever, you buy them, and they
Liquor store.
Order from a catalog.
Sure, order from a catalog directly to your
Delivered to your
door.
house. No serial numbers mandatory on firearms.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And that's changed, and then since then it's been a little bit. And if you're newer to the generations and you don't recall that, you just have a history book, you may or may not read that portion of it. All you know is, hey, guns are bad, we can't do this. Well, guess what? Your kids are gonna know. It's on and on and on. So it's definitely a challenge. You know, you look at it, you see the writing on the wall. I mean, look, change is inevitable, right? It's going to happen. You know, we're probably all going to be floating around in cars and stuff like that here, you know, soon. But
But it's up to us to dictate what our kids learn.
it
Well,
is.
and on that, I left that part out. Like the little boys, the younger ones, you know, they've got the Nerf guns and the toys and stuff like that. But even when my oldest was that age, it got brought to my attention by somebody, and they're like, hey, you know, now you should start teaching him, you know, stuff with the Nerf guns, and like, hey, you don't point it at anybody. So even with the Nerf guns, you know, they shoot decent. So if you're pretty close and you get popped in the face, it's going to sting. So the two little boys right now, we've kind of, hey, you don't point a gun at somebody, you don't point them at their face, you don't point at anything. You know, there's no guns in the house. You know, everything's locked away, because I hear a lot of stories. You know, that's one of the number one in the house accidents. And so that's even at the young age, we emphasize with the boys, hey, you know what?
Yeah. Where you teach them it's a tool, not a toy.
Exactly.
and better safe than sorry, as
If you screw around with the tool, you're going to get hit.
and if you go over to somebody's house, if somebody pulls out a gun, you do not, you run away, you go find a parent, because, you know, it is a big thing that
It is, man. You got to respect it. You know, they are machines, and they can cause harm, and
tool.
they can cause damage, and you got to respect it.
Just like a skill saw or a chainsaw.
Grant's got a
You know
good
what I
story
mean?
about a skill saw.
Oh, yeah, shit. That came out here.
don't pin the guard.
Episode, whatever, for that
That
one.
is the best
3. I love it.
story. I swear.
I got some stuff I want to
What
talk
was
to
that,
you about your
episode 3
opinion
or
too,
4?
because you
4.
are into
4.
politics
Look at
now,
4.
local politics as it be, but it's still politics. So you've kind of put that political hat on, you know, as far as your judgment goes. So California has increasing challenges for law-abiding citizens as far as, in my opinion, over government regulations like the 11% excise tax, or what Rob Bonta would call the sin tax, or the 10-day cooling off period. Now, this also includes if you have a CCW, you still have to wait 10 days for the cool off period, which is intended that you would cool off if you were going to commit a crime. Well, you've got one on your hip that's loaded, so why do we have this, right? They already have access to a gun. What is your advice for citizens as far as participating in expression to our officials for change? And I'll give you an idea what I do, and it's not that effective. But, you know, I know that Maria Alvarado Gill is at a senator's level. Tom McClintock is our congressman at a level where he's got the ears of people that can possibly change these kind of things. I have a general email. It's not a chew out, or you know, it's not toxic or anything like that, but it is a complaint email, and it's basically asking them about what this is, and then I request to see the statistics on how it's helped, and I just throw it their way every week. And I get a response from Tom McClintock, but it's kind of a generic one. I haven't had one from Alvarado Gill. Where's your response? You know, I'm in your district. But anyway, that's what I do. What do you think? What would be your advice?
Well, I mean, it's a tough one because, you know, it's a real polarized, you know, demographic when it comes to people that are pro-gun and people that are anti-gun, all that kind of stuff, in my opinion. My advice and how I try to approach it is not emotional. Be sensible and say, hey, voice your concerns in a well-mannered way, and, you know, don't write other. I've learned over the years, the more you just write off other people and don't show any, you know, oh, you're dumb because you think that differently than me, and you're not valid in any way.
That is a problem in America, man. It's gotten worse.
You don't get as far, and, you know, you listen to somebody. All right, okay, good for you. That's your opinion. I understand. Okay, you know, but hey, I don't feel that way, and that's okay. Just like you feel that way, and that's okay. But let's be realistic and say, hey, you know what? I want to have the opportunity to protect myself, protect my family, home, whatever the case may be, and be sensible in your reasoning. Okay. And, you know, I think it's kind of a hard issue to put a blanket way of addressing it. So there has to be somebody that is understanding of both sides, because you find somebody that's not understanding of guns or doesn't even own a gun or hasn't fired a gun, they don't understand. Or, you know, somebody that loves guns, knows how to operate them, but they're not going to listen. You know, you just find yourself at a dead point.
Recently, Newsom did an interview on the Sean Ryan show, and I'm a big, you know, I listen to all that stuff, you know, so I actually went through it. It was a long one, man. It was over 4 hours. And the intro, he gave him a gift, and it was a California compliant SIG macro P365. I thought it was kind of cool for Sean Ryan to do that to Newsom. And then they started the show off like immediately with gun talk. So Newsom's thing was like, I'm not anti-gun, man. I'm not anti-gun, you know. And maybe not, you know. He says he went and shot trap and everything.
He doesn't stand up for it either.
But he definitely, the regulations that are coming from his appointed attorney general, in my mind, they seem anti-gun. They do. In my opinion, they seem
100%.
Yeah, because they don't, and I would think anybody that would look at these regulations, like the 10-day wait, like the 11% excise tax, like the now ruled unconstitutional $5 background check that's still occurring in the state of California. They're holding on to it as long as they can.
Just to buy ammunition.
Just to buy the ammunition alone for that firearm. I feel that is anti-gun, and that is coming from these people that he's appointed and he's in support. You know, he's signing off on these things. So that's the tough thing, man, is when I write, you know, as far as a blanket goes, like we talk about, you know, supporting it without getting terrible and trying to bring these things up. If there's statistics that prove like, hey, man, just buying guns in a gun store and everything and going through these background checks and stuff, you know, and these people that are buying them, they're causing all these crazy murders and everything. Well, that should be publicized as well. That should be something that there's transparency in government. You should be able to see that kind of thing. I have been requesting that, and I haven't gotten that. And the only statistics I'm getting on gun crime are the gun crimes that are coming from the criminal element that do not have to follow and abide by the same rules of people that have something to lose.
Well, they're lumping them in all together is what they're doing. They're putting it all together. So, I mean, it's going to be skewed.
And, you know, the background check and the background check for the ammo, all that kind of stuff, you know, I'm not a criminal, so I don't have a way of looking through that lens. But the way I look at it, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I wait my 10 days. I pay my taxes. But you're not affecting criminals at all when it comes to this. They're going to get their guns. They're going to get their ammo any way they can. But like for me, regular guy, normal job, mortgage, you know, all my normal expenses.
Sure, right.
You know, it prevents me from buying, you know, ammo. Like I don't go and practice as much as I want. Yeah. And I think that is a factor that it wasn't considered as, hey, you know, I want to go shoot my AR or my 22 or my, you know, 30-06 or my shotgun or whatever. The ammo has more than tripled since I was in high school 20 years ago.
Well,
you know,
just made it go
and,
yeah.
you know,
it was first, I remember, because I've been doing it since 2008. And 2012 was when we had the Sandy Hook shooting, another unfortunate school event. So the event wasn't what made it happen. It was the president at the time, Obama, standing behind the podium saying, I think that we need to look into guns and maybe redirect or maybe, you know, make an altercation to some of these things. And the public just panicked and went nuts. So if you were a gun store owner in 2012 after the Henry Sandy Hook shot, blew up. It's like, okay, there's nothing I can't sell, you know? So they all came in, demand got high. What happens after demand gets high and supply is low? Of course, the price goes up, you know? And I had people that were standing in line at Walmart, you know, getting whatever Walmart would allocate to them and then coming and trying to sell it to me for like, you know, 5 times as much. I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. I'm good, you know? So the second time that all kind of ceased and it calmed down, Trump got in and everybody was feeling safe. And it's funny because in the gun industry, and look, I voted for Trump and everything else, so I'm happy he's the president, but they do call it, in the gun industry, they call it the Trump slump because, you know, it was like Obama would sell all these guns and stuff like that, you know.
People feel safe.
People feel, like more secure, like it's not, they don't have
No need to rush.
Yeah.
So now he gets in, and then COVID happens, you know, late in his career. And COVID, the first thing was toilet paper. And I guess everybody had to think that they needed to protect that toilet paper, man.
Yeah.
Because bullets and guns were next. And that was a crazy time. And that
It was all the riots that were going on and
dude,
all that.
It was like everything after Sandy Hook that happened all the way until that point in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, it was insane. And that really raised the prices. And of course, now we've got different tariffs and different elements and everything else. So look, inflation is there. We're dealing with it, whether you buy a hamburger or you buy a box of bullets.
And then not on that, the tax though that the state, and I think they do think of like them putting the extra regulations, extra taxes, and they do think, well, if we're going to do this, it is going to do what you said it does. It stops you or slows you down from shooting. And I do think they were thinking of that. They're trying to make it as hard as possible for people to exercise their rights. Because
when you say they, I think you're talking about the side of judicial, like the attorney
legislators,
general, the legislators that are looking at
it's a super majority. There's like 90% is one way or anti-firearm.
And this is a hard part too in California, man, because it truly is a state where I'll say we, you know, are outweighed. You have conservative people here that, if you're a Californian, you adapt to liberal ways of life, you know, whether you like it or not. Like, there's good stuff about California. I love how California is open. I love our weather here. I love that we're accepting here. I love all that kind of thing. I am a shooting enthusiast to the point where my livelihood is based primarily off of that. I'm also a cop, you know, where I see the statistics of crime and they're not coming from the customers at my store, man. So this is where I think, okay, the side of the left, whatever you want to call them, you know, they're attacking it and picking on good people for this. I mean, that's not, and you talk to a farmer is going to tell you the same thing about this EPA stuff and everything else. But in this industry, I feel the 11%, the $5 ammo check, the 10-day, I mean, I'll go on down the rule. It's an attack is what it is. It's like, okay, you guys want to have this? You got this stinky Second Amendment where we can't get around? Well, guess what? We're going to monetize off.
They're saying that like the 10-day wait. Oh, well, it's to save lives. Well, a majority, I mean, there are some people that first-time gun buyers, yes, but a majority of people already own guns. 10-day wait. So, well, we're going to make you wait 10 days so you know, just in case you're wanting to kill someone.
With the gun you're waiting for.
And they have the ability because the rest of the states are doing instant background checks. I know some of them have changed now, but the majority of the other states are doing instant background checks. And guess what? The ammunition background check is instant, and it's the same NIC check that you're getting for a gun.
So it is just a ploy.
It's a money grab. It's a way to support.
Did Mr. Bonta actually call it a sin tax? That new 11%?
Yes, he did. Yes,
he did. Gun owners are sinners?
I have I can't
ammunition
purchase. Correct.
Deplorables and sinners.
Yes.
So people that own
Vigilantes. He's
firearms,
called us
so people that buy ammunition.
It was in September of 2003 when Bonta made his statement. Newsom was there too. And you go to YouTube and you can check it out. And it's still on there. And yes, he did. He called it a sin tax. He actually called, I've got it written up there somewhere. You know, I display it to my customers to let them know what their appointed attorney general is calling them. Yeah, it's upsetting. You know, it is what it is, but it's what we're living with. But that's what I mean. It's like one way to do a blanket complaint is to
join the California Rifle and Pistol Association, because and I'm not getting any money saying this. I mean, they've offered it to me. They've told me, hey, if you sell our California Rifle and Pistol Association memberships, we'll give you a cut or whatever. I don't need it. Just get with them, because if you're not going to do what I'm doing, which is, throwing emails out personally and telling everybody to do it, that's a good way, is give them $40 here or there, and they'll do it for you. And they are the ones that are actually litigating against.
They're the ones
In
fighting
the
good fight.
trenches in California.
They're the ones you want
Not
to
the
see.
NRA that
No.
is.
No, CRPA.
Yeah.
So I also want to talk as a deep-rooted citizen of Oakdale and a current councilman. What do you feel, gun-related or not gun-related, doesn't matter. What do you feel are the greatest challenges and advantages in the city that the city of Oakdale is facing?
So, in my opinion, we're kind of at a point where, hey, we're either need to grow to sustain generating revenue for a city, or we need to start filling the gaps of the community. I was the only one that voted no on the 300-acre annexation.
Yeah. So if anybody that's watching this or listening to this that doesn't know, here in our city of Oakdale, east of our airport, there's 300 acres that has been just natural and left alone forever. And there was a vote in the city of Oakdale to approve an annexation of that property in order to build homes. And how many homes are going to be there?
900.
900.
890 to 900 homes.
Okay.
So my heartburn about that is there's lots of things, and I could talk for an hour on it. I don't know if you got enough batteries for it. So, I'm all about responsible growth. We have plenty of areas in town that, behind OID, there's that big open lot. There's multiple other open lots, like the over on 108 and Crane, they're going to build 184 homes. That's within our footprint already.
Do you have a timeline for that?
I don't. They're currently doing the.
But we know it's
underground.
approved and it's coming.
Yeah, my heart rate goes up just thinking about it all. But we have the 184 homes going in. We have the homes just finished by Wayward over on Gregor. We've got Old Stockton Road. Tesoro and Carmel Reyes just finished. Tesoro 2 and 3. I think the plan is up to 5 going over by the golf course and rodeo grounds. That's over 400 homes coming in the next 5 to 10 years. And so,
That's huge, dude. When you're looking
900 houses over on the corner.
3 to 7 people per home. Yeah, that's huge.
And so
That's a big bump for Oakdale.
Yeah.
As
And
far as population goes, yeah.
a lot of people are like, oh, Oakdale's great. Oakdale, everybody wants to move here. Yes, Oakdale is great. I totally believe Oakdale's great. That's why I've stayed here. That's why I choose to raise a family here. And that's why I don't plan on leaving or going anywhere.
No, I love it too.
But that being said, we have a responsibility to our families, our community, to maintain that. And yes, that is by how we act and how we greet people and treat people. But if you kind of get beyond your britches, in my opinion, there's holes to fill in, within the city limits already. Annexing 300 more acres, putting 900 homes that aren't going to be affordable to.
Those holes you're talking about more commercial based?
No, they're residential.
Okay.
They're within the footprint of residential and the areas over there. But, they're like, oh yeah, we plan on putting affordable housing within these subdivisions and whatnot. And it's like, you have rolling hills, views, nice sunrises. They're not going to put affordable housing apartments and little townhomes right there. They're going to build.
I mean, look, when I was on council too, that was the talk, and it's not. We don't really have a demographic for that kind of thing. I think we have and I know the state's really pressuring on that, and that's something that I didn't understand until I was doing what you're doing. And if you could talk a little bit about that, like the state of California really makes it attractive for a municipality that's trying to gain additional revenue for affordable housing. And then they start forcing it into it. And they use avenues of approach like using transportation funds for housing.
I had to go through Caltrans.
Yeah.
They push it through that way. And thankfully enough, we've pushed back and, said no. And we, city manager has written the letters and got a consensus from us to say, hey, we don't want that. We want it to be in our court to make the decision. So that's from what I've been told, we're good on that front. But I've been told since I started, hey, why are you being so stubborn about not building? And I go, it's not that I'm not about building. Let's build what makes sense.
Sure.
Let's not just build to build, because let's be honest. What is interest rate right now? Over 6%.
Yeah, I think it's still over 6.
The cost of housing, everything. The
Son
cost of
just bought his
PG&E.
first house, my youngest, in February, Go Friday, and he's got like 6.9, dude.
Yeah.
I'm at 2.5.
I know, I'm at 2.25.
And it's like, some of these folks,
it's hard. It really is. It's not gonna
how are you supposed to succeed and save for and put money away and put money in your retirement, do things to your home, God forbid your car breaks down and you got to spend $2,000 or more, that hits people hard. And if you look at the demographic in Oakdale, when I looked this up months ago, 42% of our residents live in the $85,000 or less a year.
So define affordable housing.
Exactly. So most of those are renters.
Okay.
So rent is very high. Our PG&E, we're primarily PG&E. Right. When I brought the MID idea to the city manager,
That's a great idea.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We'll touch on that. Yeah.
Another show.
I don't care what they think. I've had people call me, hey, my husband is injured. He's got health issues. He can't work. I work. We have to choose between either paying or turning on our AC and being able to be comfortable in our home and buying groceries. So what they do is they sit in their car with the AC on until it's cool enough in the house so they can all go in the house.
Bro, I get. So PG&E Bill is a state recognized utility. So people can use that for their additional source of residency. So they have to have a secondary source of residency when buying like a pistol, right? Mm-hmm. They're bringing in their PG&E bills, bro.
Yeah.
Thousands. Well, this is a month, not a year. Thousands, $2,000-$3,000 for a residence. That's more than a mortgage.
Yes.
Okay, that's insane.
And,
I will shout out to solar too, by the way, because I got it on my building, and my bill this time last year was $890, and now it's $46. So if you guys are thinking about it, my house, the only thing I have to complain about is the true up. I did get one this year. It's the first true up I've ever had.
well, if the rates didn't stop going up,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have that issue.
Yeah.
And, when we met with the PG&E people, they're like, oh, yeah, we have great, payment plans and this and that. And I said, if you didn't have such high rates, we wouldn't need a payment plan. And she's like, oh, yeah, we dropped
That's terrible, bro. Do they charge interest on those payment plans?
Yeah. So hold on. So the lady told me, she's like, oh, well, yeah, we just had a 4%, drop. And I said, yeah, but before that was a 6% increase. Yeah. So you still got an increase, and you're not doing residents any favors. And, we have a high demographic of elderly folks in town as well. And with health issues and health things that are going on with them, I can't tell you how many voicemails and people I talked to after the MID thing went live of us, what we were trying to do. Thank you so much. My wife's in, cancer treatments, and we can't keep our house lower than 78 degrees. It's a health issue.
Yeah.
It's not only a humanity thing, it's a health issue.
What's disgusting is
people can't afford.
I mean, you talk to the guys that have the houses off Gregor or the newer homes that were implemented with MID. So now they've got MID.
I'm lucky enough to live in those houses.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I bought that house.
That's what I mean, bro. So you usually use it. You actually use it for a reason. Like you talk to Columbo. Okay, his house is almost twice the size of mine. He's got an upstairs. I have solar. Dave's getting it too because he wants it or whatever. But his right now is a third of what mine would be. So in other words, he's paying like $350, for a much larger home with an upstairs. Yeah. Whereas like I have solar now, so I don't really have to pay for it. But if I didn't have that, it'd be $1,200-$1,500, dude. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. I have a 1,900 square foot house, not small, not huge, single story. We keep our house at 69, 70 degrees year round, and our bill's anywhere from $160 to 180, maybe 200 wind.
That's
really
MID.
bad hot.
And I mean,
But my parents' house, that's a maybe 900 square foot house, 1,200 square foot house, I think. We remodeled it 5 years ago. New insulation, new windows, everything. Their house is still $700 to $800 a month, and it's just my folks out there.
dude, that's
And
there's no reason for that. They're getting the power from the Hetch Hetchy, right? It's the same place. So what is going on, PG&E? You got they're
Well,
the
it's
ones
not just PGA. Everywhere it's going up. Like I told you.
I know MID.
MID
You
went
have
up.
MID.
What,
Well,
150?
PG&E
In 1
is a
month.
company that, what was it, 10, 15 years ago, they were screaming, oh my God, we need help. We need government assistance. We can't afford to operate our business. We need
'Cause
to
they
up
got
our
sued?
rates. And yet they gave all their upper end executives bonuses.
Well, it's all about satisfying.
What's a
the upper
bonus
end,
for?
yeah.
A bonus is for doing a good job.
Yeah.
And my rates went up. I live in Riverbank in a 1,300 square foot house, and I have PG&E, and I have had $900 bills
Guess what,
during
Grant?
the summertime
Grant,
because my air conditioning to keep my
You're
house
on the opposite
at
side of the
70
street.
I crossed the road. Yeah.
And you're in MID, but
Hey,
still, it went up.
congratulations, Grant, on paying off your home. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So that I can afford to pay my
Yes.
power bill.
New mortgage is your power bill. Yes, sir. Hey, I want to cover real fast. I want to talk to you, Jared, about Walmart in Oakdale. I know we're shifting gears really quick here. You know, we're getting some time limits going on. I still want Jimmy to talk about his 1911 tip, but the rumors about something happening in the Kmart facility are true. You've confirmed those with me. I found out about it from you. I don't know why it's not, you guys aren't wanting to publicize it over there, but I mean, you're like, hey, dude, you know, it's happening. And I'm really thankful for you telling me that. So it is, right, that we got permits approved. Walmart is coming to town.
So they've pulled the permits, and it still has to go through a couple steps. They pulled the permit. It still needs to be seen by the planning commission and approved. If it's opposed, then it comes to city council. If the planning commission approves it, then they're good to go to keep proceeding. But yes, they have requested and received a permit, as what I was told, to tear down the old Kmart building and rebuild a whole new building with pharmacy, drive-through, all that kind of stuff.
And it would be based off of a Walmart neighborhood market,
Yes,
right? Which is
neighborhood.
smaller,
Like a
50,000
grocery
square
store
foot.
design,
Yes.
not a super Walmart.
Yes.
So I went to Walmart's site just to kind of see what that was because, you know, first thing I did is, you know, tell my girl, like, hey,
Yeah.
you know, Walmart. And she's like, what? You know, and then, of course, you know, all the friends and everything else start talking about it. And the big concern is, hey, we already have 2 grocery stores down there. Are they planning on catering to the city's needs and having bedding and, you know, school backpacks and socks? Or is it just food?
Gotcha. So what that type of Walmart provides, that's what I've been informed of as well. I don't think a lot of people, you know, when the post was made, we don't need another, you know, thing on that end of town. We don't need this. We don't need that. And I understand, you know, I live on the west side of town, and, you know, driving across town, I think is still better than driving into Riverbank, Modesto. You know, every other Sunday we go to Costco to stock up because they got 3 feral boys that eat constantly.
Right.
You know, get everything we need, but then we still go to 2 or 3 different places to try and, you know, shop right and smart and get what we need. In my opinion, with the demographic of Oakdale, there's going to be people that shop there and there's going to be people that don't. You know what I mean? Some people are going to see the value in it, some are not. You know, but when there was nothing there, Kmart building was just going to kind of in the dumps, and they had to impose, you know, some upkeep on it with the owner. And in my opinion, hey, do we need another grocery store there? To some, yes, and some, no. But, you know, when it was empty, people were complaining, oh, what's going to happen with the Kmart? We need something there. We need something there.
eyesore. We need to make it into an indoor
So
racetrack.
I get it. Yeah. And I also, now that I'm on city council and I see the budget, I see the things, you know, it's a revenue generator for the city. Okay. It's, you know, when I was running, I talked to the previous mayor of Riverbank, and just Costco alone makes the city of Riverbank $5,000 a day in taxes. A day in taxes. Yeah. So do we need another Walmart, or do we need another grocery store? Maybe not, but you know what? It's going to serve some people, and then it's also going to serve the community. And
it's better than a vacant building.
It's better than a vacant building. But with,
It's an eyesore when it's
for
vacant.
6
If
years.
if you're going to
It's a nice
annex 300 acres just southeast of that
But here's the thing.
new Walmart, they're going to build houses. How many people? They're going to want a grocery store.
Well, I think that's probably one of the
grocery
reasons
stores right
why
there,
they
too.
did.
But
try
there's
and get
a
the permits,
railings
right?
and
Because what
Same
Fed's
one
talking
right there.
about, additional population.
So
I mean,
here's the thing. I argued till I was blue in the face at the city council meeting and with previous city manager of, we don't need that many rooftops to get certain things in town. And they argued, yes, we do. Yes, we do. And it's like, if you think that there's nobody that works within these Walmarts or these other department stores that doesn't have somebody that looks at the credit card reports, because that's how they see where people are spending their money.
Right.
They look at the credit card reports, and 95361 is spending majority of their money just on the outside of town. And you can't tell me that somebody at those companies doesn't say, oh, I bet they enjoy doing that. No, I guarantee you they would think, hey, those folks want to spend their money in town. Okay. So, they told me, yeah, we'll never get a Walmart until we build another 5,000, 8,000 houses. And I'm like, well, look what we got coming here.
Here it
and
is.
we're at 24,088
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
The population of Oakdale.
and that's about
So-
to boom in the next 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I'm worried about, I forgot to talk about this with the housing, is the prices that are all-time high. So are we getting ourselves back in a 2008 situation where, hey, high interest rates, people getting
bubble.
approved for loans,
Yeah.
and then we got a bunch of houses that are empty,
I
or
noticed
people
that,
get
man,
foreclosed,
on the east end of town.
Foreclosed.
and it's
walk
like, what?
away. Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah.
We grew beyond our britches too fast. So it's like, hey, if we want to grow, that's fine and all. But hey, let's upgrade our infrastructure. I worked in construction my whole life, underground, building houses, a lot of different elements of construction, and how hard it is to replace a water main or a sewer main down a highway or a side street with that many residents when it's traffic, when it's peak hours of commuting. And we haven't done any of those preparatory things before we go and grow 2,000 houses in a town.
Yeah.
So,
And the citizens of those areas brought that up as well when they were talking about the
we did,
annexation.
yes. But the whole Walmart thing, it just goes to show that, the potential to growth is anywhere, in my opinion. So I didn't agree with that argument. Oh, we got to grow to get these things. But I also argued the fact that maybe the ship has sailed for Target, Walmart, these big box stores that are just 10 miles down the road.
Yeah, they brought that up, man. Actually, early when I was on, I think it was 21, we took a group call in that little room or whatever, and Target executives were on that call, and they basically had a Google Maps up, and they were looking at the demographic, and they was like, well, it looks like there's already one 6 miles away. Your citizens can just go to that one. That's literally what they said.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So-
I mean, they're looking at that too. Like, why would we make the investment when right now with the population the way it is, they can just head down to Riverbank, and that's exactly
And that's exactly it. So something that I talked with Jerry, the city manager, I said, hey, let's try this. Here's a list of places that I think would do great in our demographic of the town. I lived in Oregon for 5 years when I was going to school up there. And as a broke college kid, I could go to Bi-Mart. I don't know if you ever heard of Bi-Marts or a Fred Meyer's up there.
I've heard
And
of Bi-Marts.
I could buy everything I needed, and it was a co-op. So the city
that's
residents...
what you just said. Buy everything I needed. That's what Oakdale's looking for.
Exactly.
They're looking for that.
And, we
We want
got
to go
two...
buy a pack of T-shirts, man.
Yeah, we got 2 Rite Aids that are open. The buildings are usually about that size, and they're folks that kind of want, you can get your vitamins there, your groceries there, your bed sheets there, your underwear, your socks, everything I could go and get, diapers, wipes, everything, because my first son was born back then, so I had to go somewhere that I could afford and get everything at. And I literally didn't shop very many other places.
Fred
besides
Meyer
that.
has T-shirts and diapers and hobby stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Anything you want.
And so I gave
You
him a
can get it
list.
there,
I gave
so.
him a list of 5 places I thought would be good. And I said, hey, you know what? Why don't we start reaching out to these corporations or these these entities, and why don't we invite one of their representatives out? We put them up in a hotel, we give them a tour, show them, hey, this is what we've got, buildings that are open. Here's lots that are open, zoned for commercial, and we show them the valley. We go up to Yosemite. We show them, hey, the highway.
Fred Meyers?
These companies that I gave them a list of. I said, let's invite let's see if we can get who's going to bite and come down and say, hey, look, this is what our residents are asking for. You know, we need something that will benefit the residents ultimately and the community, the city. And he's already on it. And that, he goes, well, no one's ever brought that idea up before. That's a great idea. So, you know, we're trying to get people here, like, you know, my hopes too for the Walmart area, for it to go through, is for one, to generate revenue for the city. It can be used by anybody that wants to go there. They'll have, and the whole thing too is they're like, oh, it's just a grocery store. Well, you know, when we get into the conversation with Walmart, I'm hoping there's an opportunity to be like, hey, you know what? Our residents are really excited.
Well, the website states that the neighborhood markets cater to the needs of the neighborhood.
Exactly. I read the same thing you did.
Kmart, the Kmart building, that's pretty big though.
It's huge.
But it's going to come down.
They're going to tear it down and rebuild a brand new building.
89,000 square feet. Walmart's planning on building, I think, 45 or 50.
Because usually they're the neighborhood Walmarts, they're the size of like Rite Aid kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're small. They're just for a little neighborhood.
And so that's my whole thing is like, hey, you know what? Let's get them in here, and then maybe the conversation can be had by the mayor or the city manager and say, look, our residents are, you know what? They're excited, but they hear what they're expressing their needs are, and hopefully they listen. That's my hopes. You know, I've never done it before.
I'm glad that you're doing that, dude, and I'm so happy and thankful that you're on there and you're working for it. And I do think that that's a huge benefit for the town, man. Yeah. So thanks for what you're doing. I want to shift gears. Because I got the annual Oakdale Lobster Fest to go to here in a little bit, you know, where I've got some sponsored guns. But I want to shift gears. I want Jimmy to give the 1911 tip.
Okay, real quick tip here. When you're putting your 1911 together after you cleaned it and everything, everybody knows about that horrid, Grant knows, the idiot scratch.
It's an idiot mark.
There's a little thing you can do if you don't have the tools to do it, like me, or maybe you can find a gunsmith to do it for you. There's a little channel you can cut into your slide. Right here we'll have a video or a photo and a video to show you right next. And what that does is when you you line up your slide just like you're putting it together regularly, instead of trying to slide it up and push that the plunger tube spring out of the way, that's where you can get an accident and get that idiot scratch. Well, this little channel here, you have it kind of out over it, riding over the top of it, and this little channel, you start pressing it down, and that spring will ride up in there. So you just snap it right in. It makes it like way easier, 10 times better. And you won't get that idiot scratch.
So even an idiot can avoid the idiot mark.
Yes.
Excellent. Good to know.
And then you're not paying me to refinish it. That's what we're doing with yours. Hopefully it works.
All of my 1911s will have that. We'll see.
But anyway, that's just a quick little thing on how to kind of avoid those.
And you're going to have an instructional video on how to do that?
Yeah, it's probably going to be right over here.
Cool.
All right, very good, man. Well, anybody want to talk about any other subjects? Anything else?
I can keep talking about Walmart. And
I mean, hey, man, you know, if you want to go over it a little bit. Sure.
In band camp?
yeah.
All right, well, look, I think we covered a lot of stuff, man. I'm so glad to have you out. We'll have you out again, man.
Absolutely.
We'll keep up the progress. And
there's a lot coming.
Yeah, keep us
There is.
posted
There
on what's
really
going to
is,
go
man.
on
I
in
agree,
that
yeah.
area. The housing and the Walmart.
And hey, man, I do want to thank you too, man, for publicating that, because I think transparency is huge, and citizens appreciate it, man. They really do.
Trying.
Thank you so much.
That's what I'm here for is you folks, and I won't back down. That's why I don't start anything to fail. So might be a fight, but
Appreciate it, man.
ready to rock and roll.
All right, if there's nothing else, I think that's a good one to wrap it up.
That's it.
All right, man. All right. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you,
See you
Anthony.
next time.